What's up? DJ Kryptonite here, talking pro sports, boxing, combat sports, and the like. We're going to get right into it. I was just recently watching a podcast or a YouTube channel, The Good Fight with Kate Abdo. You got to check it out. Great interview with Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford discussed a lot of things, the lead up to the Errol Spence fiasco, all the conversations and the negotiations, that sort of thing, signature fights and the like. Kate Abdo asked the right questions, very good questions. Terrence Crawford seemed to answer the questions as truthful as he could. And what I kind of pulled away or got out of the interview was Terrence Crawford is still not completely over the fact that fight didn't take place, and he continues to cast blame on the PBC Errol Spence side. I think specifically he said he didn't blame Errol directly, but he did blame PBC, and I think there is some blame to go around from both sides, between Terrence Crawford's side and PBC. So another good takeaway that I had from it was pretty apparent that Terrence Crawford continues to compare himself to Errol Spence, his resume, his legacy, and that sort of thing. And Terrence Crawford believes his resume is significantly better than what Errol Spence's resume is today at this point in their fight careers. He said he has nothing else to prove. And he kind of cast doubt on any quote unquote signature wins that Errol Spence has gotten up to this point. But Bud wanted to justify all of his signature wins. I think he mentioned Ricky Burns, Gamboa. He mentioned a few fighters, and justified why he believed they were signature wins, while casting doubt on Errol Spence's legacy. I'm not exactly sure why that is the case. I think he still really has some sort of beef with Errol Spence to some degree. I believe he's just his nemesis right now. But the thing about it is, I'm not quite sure if he believes he's his nemesis. Why don't he do the things he needs to do to make the fight? He is a free agent, and I get you want transparency with the negotiations and that sort of thing. I think that was his main takeaway from the negotiations. He just said he wanted transparency, and he wanted money up front. And I believe PBC hadn't been operating that way. They've been operating in reverse, where they pay the boxer based off of the results of the promotion and that sort of thing, and pay-per-view sales and that sort of thing. So he's just not operating from that playbook, and he's not used to it. It's uncomfortable for him, so he just wasn't willing to negotiate that way. But I do feel that Kate did a great job of pulling information out of him. It's just clear to me that Terrence Crawford really has some animosity towards PBC, and he hadn't gotten past it. I don't, based off of this interview, I don't feel he has any kind of urgency or even any kind of motivation to fight Errol Spence at this point. I don't know if that fight will happen. Based off this interview, it didn't give me any warm and fuzzies about that fight taking place. But I believe it was a great interview. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence about the fight. I'm leaning towards it's just not happening. I think Terrence Crawford is a jaded, unhappy fighter, and I think that was based off of probably how he was treated at Top Rank. When you're mistreated or abused by your promotional company, and then you have to go into negotiations with a new company that really wasn't willing to make the fight with Top Rank because of the relationship between Top Rank and PBC, and now you have to negotiate with the very company that you demonized as a member of Top Rank. I'm sure that's hard to get over. You know, it's no love lost between the two organizations or between promotions. There is no love lost. So I can understand he still has animosity, but you're letting it get in the way of your legacy and the money to be made. And I'm still kind of a little leery about the fact that he's making $10 million off of this. I don't know. I'm hearing that half of the tickets have been sold. for his upcoming fight, and that could be very well be the case. But again, $10 million. I don't know if he's going to make that. But again, I'm not trying to pocket watch, or I'm not going to be in Terrence Crawford's pockets. You know, he got to do what's best for his family and that sort of thing. But I don't think this was the best move for his legacy. And I'm sure Terrence Crawford fans are going to question or, you know, criticize that comment. But I just don't think that was the case. You know, sometimes you have to give a little to get a little. So, you know, if you don't trust that PBC was being forthright in the negotiations, you call them out on it. You call them out on it. You call them out to a point where, hey, listen. And he just went about things the wrong way. And with negotiations, you really don't want to make them public anyway, because there's no reason, because it's just hearsay, or your word against his. So it makes everybody look unprofessional, and I think that's what ultimately happened in this issue. So now everybody's pointing fingers about what could have been done. But negotiations should be private. That should be a private matter. You're talking money and finances, and it shouldn't come out. It should just simply state, hey, we couldn't make the fight, you know, had an impasse, or we had a difference of opinion. So we'll move on and we'll reconvene on this fight after this one. And then that would have been the end of it. Nobody could point fingers. It was just a mutual stepping away from the table for a moment, you know, because we were at an impasse. But it just wasn't done that way. It was a lot of finger pointing. And at this point, it seems like, you know, I think, you know, Terrence Crawford flipped the table over. You know, you didn't walk away from the table. You flipped it over. And that doesn't go well for anybody. Now everybody has some harboring ill feelings and that sort of thing. So anyway, like I said, check out the Kate Abdo interview with Terrence Crawford. I think it's called the Good Fight. It's a great interview. Check it out. Let me know what your thoughts are, because I got a lot out of it. I think it's probably the best questioning of Terrence Crawford in a long time, and I think he gave pretty sincere and honest answers. So you got to check it out. Anyway, have a good Tuesday. DJ Kryptonite out of here. Deuces.